One of the trends in the headphone market of 2017 is active noise cancellation devices are being much more accessible. They're lower priced now, and they're also integrated into many wireless Bluetooth solutions. Hey folks, here at OS Reviews. You're watching our video first look and a quick review of the Meidong E6. These are a metallic aluminum accented wireless pair of Bluetooth headsets that also features active noise cancellation. It's not just that CVC technology that you see in almost every single brand out there, but there's actually this active component which includes additional microphones that cancels out the ambient noise and makes these a great fit if you're always traveling, going into airports or environments where there's a ton of background sound and you want to concentrate into your music or just have a quiet environment for you to sleep or rest. They sell on Amazon for under $40, which is pretty inexpensive, although the design isn't the most novel thing. We've seen this type of look before on other manufacturers, but overall it's a pretty classy and elegant design. The box is extremely lightweight, and in order to cut down costs, they basically didn't include any accessories other than just the headsets themselves to make the headset experience as good as possible. They spent all the money on that instead of the packaging, which I'm a fan of. I think that's what manufacturers should do, especially for low-cost products like this. You can see there's two variants, one which is a regular one, the other which is noise canceling. That's the one that we have. 3 color choices: black, silver, or gold. So again, the box here is extremely bare bones, which is a huge contrast to the way that the headsets actually work. The quality, which we'll discuss later on, is actually really good, and the build I'm also quite impressed with. But you can see how you get almost nothing else in the box. There's just a micro USB cable for charging, and it takes about 3 hours to completely charge. And here we have a auxiliary cable, 3.5mm jack, in case you don't want to use wireless Bluetooth and you still want to connect to something like an MP3 player. There's also a user guide that tells you how to pair it, how to set it up for the very first time, and how to fold it down for traveling. So there's no additional case that you get with these headsets. So taking a quick look at the design, I really like this kind of concave look. You can see the design of these two pads here slightly dips inwards. It's smooth, the whole thing is made out of aluminum, and these chamfered edges also reflects and makes it seem a lot more expensive than it is. All of these chrome accents on the sides are made out of metal instead of being plastic, so they feel great. And even the arm extensions, which you can adjust to change the band size, is still made out of the same one piece of aluminum. So every single moving part on here is metal instead of plastic, which is great. The memory foam that's on the very top of the headset is also quite generous and soft, so when you are wearing these for longer periods of time, they remain fairly comfortable. Again, the pads themselves can be swiveled up to 180 degrees, so they are quite flexible as well. You can see here that these are classified as on-ear style headphones instead of over-the-ear style. So that really means the active noise cancellation has to be strong, similar to a lot of Bose headphones, because they're not over-the-ear. If they're over-the-ear, there's already a degree of sound isolation just by nature of the design of a larger cushion, but this basically just sits on the outside of your ears, so the technology has to do all the cancellation. You can kind of see elements of where they do grooves, and that's really where the active noise cancellation magic happens. It's where it picks up the ambient noise and then creates some white noise, and if there's a wavelength that goes like this, it creates the opposite wavelength through the circuitry on here to kind of cancel out the sound so you just get this flat line and you can concentrate with your music. And on the sides here, there's access to the 3.5mm auxiliary cable port if you want to use traditional wired. And there's also an LED light for pairing that will blink when you are setting it up for the first time with your phone. There's also the micro USB port for charging, and there's a dedicated power switch which you hold for a few seconds, and also volume controls, which are pretty tactile and responsive. The control sets make sense, and you get used to them pretty quickly. You can also use it to answer or reject a phone call with the built-in microphone on board, which is also noise canceling. You can see none of the ports here are covered up by rubber, and that's because these are not waterproof or water-resistant headphones. So if you're looking for something to take to the gym or take to the beach, then this is not going to be the best pair for you. It's more meant for serious listening as well as, for traveling long distances. So that's just something to keep in mind. So again, the cushions themselves are made out of the same material as the headband and remains extremely soft, and they don't accumulate that much heat either. So even after you wear these for, let's say, 2 to 3 hours, it was still fairly comfortable. On a single go, I got roughly, I would say, 11 hours with some sporadic ANC turn on and off sometimes. So in between that usage, this is a fair and respectable amount for an active noise canceling enabled pair of Bluetooth headsets. That ANC feature on will obviously drain the power a little faster just because there's an extra process, especially if you're also using Bluetooth at the same time. Speaking of, the Bluetooth range is around 10 meters or 33 feet, and as long as you're within that range, the signal is quite strong and there's no real distortion. Talking a little bit about the music experience next, with the active noise cancellation off, these actually sound surprisingly good. I would say better than even a lot of headphones I've tested, maybe 1 times or 2 times the price of these. And they're really loud and clean and also pack a surprising amount of bass. So if you're listening to a lot of beats or EDM, classical music, you really hear those lower frequencies loudly and cleanly as well. So it separates the sound very well. It's a very natural sounding pair of headphones. So you can really distinguish between different instruments and the intricate layers of the music, which is something you seldom do on a regular pair of pretty inexpensive headsets. I would say that these are almost hi-fi quality, but obviously not audiophile grade, and they're more meant as commuter or traveler headphones. But the sound quality really is great if you're watching some movies, just listening to general music for electronic or folk music. It does a great job, and really no complaints there. Even in higher frequencies, it remains quite sharp and clean sounding. When you turn the ANC function on, like most active noise canceling headsets, there will be a bit more of distortion in the background. Since it has to cancel out the noise, it creates some white noise. And so if you turn the volume all the way low, you'll be able to hear a little bit of that hissing. And that's natural for any headphone with ANC. But again, when you're in this mode, it's more for transportation or if you're trying to block out everything around you and not meant for really serious audio listening. As far as that feature is concerned, I tested it when I was on a train, on a subway, as well as when I was on an airplane, and they sounded extremely good. I would say they blocked out around 70% of the background noise easily. People could be talking. The engine sound was completely drowned out for the most part, as long as I listened to music at a moderate volume, and people talking was mostly drowned out as well. So I was in my own world, and I could concentrate on the music or reading or even sleeping, and it was a very comfortable experience. And when I'm done, I can just shut them off and then tuck this away back again, since it's very easy to travel with because the pads themselves can be folded flush, as you can see here. So all in all, I'm really impressed with the Meidong active noise canceling headphones. I would say that it's a pretty low-cost solution, but at the same time, the build seems a lot more expensive than the price would suggest. The microphone feature works great also for answering phone calls, and general music experience is quite strong. So, overall, I would say these are definitely recommended if you're looking for a pair of low-cost ANC headphones and you also want a Bluetooth pair. This makes a lot of sense, especially since they're rechargeable and don't take regular batteries. That means that you can use them over and over again, which is extremely convenient. You can check out more details about these in our official written review, but for now, this has been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews. This has been the Meidong E6 Metal ANC wireless on-ear style headphones.